What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I want to break down what's going on with the overall market and talk about this big squeeze that we're seeing approaching the State of the Union. I'm also going to talk about the last piece of data coming out for today, which is very, very minor, how the market is looking, in my opinion. But before I get into all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 free stocks. Anyways, looking at the market, we're looking very, very bullish. SPY is continuing to break out, testing resistance between 515.8 and 516. If we break this thing could squeeze even more. But I have one quick warning for everyone about this. So the market is approaching Joe Biden's 2024 State of the Union, which is going to be today at 6 o'clock for me, but 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when Biden's going to be giving this speech. And this is going to be very, very important. All right, the market is just approaching it, and it's looking pretty great. But I do want to warn you all that tomorrow morning, tomorrow is going to be Friday, March 8th, at 8:30 a.m. We have a lot of employment numbers coming out. We have the non-farm payrolls coming out. We have the unemployment rate coming out. Very important data coming out tomorrow. And that's going to be like the main chunk of the data. Everything else is very minor after that. But with all this data coming out for the unemployment sector, it could cause a big move in the markets. I don't know if it's going to cause the market to reverse or not, or if the market's going to keep going. So it is kind of risky, at least to some extent, to be holding overnight if you haven't taken profits already. Not financial advice. I personally took profits. Not trying to, force you to do anything. It's your choice, but just know that you never know what's going to happen tomorrow with all these numbers coming out. So please be very, very careful. All right. So, anyways, let's talk about what's going on with SPY. SPY has been pushing very hard. We're all the way up to about 515. I called out 515.5. We went a little bit higher to 515.8. We have resistance between 515.8 and about 516. And we're going to be watching to see if you reject here or not. We could still test it. We're still holding up nice. There hasn't really been much of a pullback. If we break that, our next target is going to be 517.25 and 518. Now, as we're coming down a little bit, watch support at 515 flat, followed by 514.2. That's the previous all-time high. And then we have 513 below that. Overall, SPY is holding up very well. It's still very, very bullish on a very, very strong trend, and it could continue to try to break this resistance. It could still push even higher. So watch and see if we break that 516 area. If we break it, this thing is going to just continue to push higher. Now, in terms of predictions, I did actually predict that this would go higher, at least today in the morning. My prediction from yesterday was based off technicals that ended up being incorrect because of all these external factors. But as the market is bouncing and as the market started pushing in the pre-market, I called out a new all-time high that should be coming. I called 515 and 515.5 in my previous two videos, and that's where SPY ended up going to. At this point, we're now, since this thing ran so much already, we're just going to be watching this resistance. We're very strong right now. We could try to break this, see if we get back above 516. If we achieve this, a much bigger push could still be coming towards 517.25 and then 518. SPY is still bullish nonetheless. For the QQQ, we're bullish. Bullish. This thing's pushing to its all-time high again. 446.5, some tight resistance up there. If we break this, I believe the QQQ could be on its way to 447.5. And if we get into that resistance zone, there's some space between 447.5 and 448. We could actually test that zone. If we break past this resistance right here, which is where we're currently at, 446.5. If we break down, watch 446 flat, 445, 443.5, and then 442. Overall, it's still bullish. It's fighting resistance right now, so let's see how it reacts. There is potential for this to push towards 447.5, if not 448. If we break 448, I think 450 is also another possibility, by the way. So this thing is a monster. There's no sign we're done just yet, and it's just continuing to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze like there's no tomorrow. So QQQ is still strong, still pushing very nicely. We'll see how this goes. For Tesla is looking pretty decent. Now, we have a wedge that's attempting to form right here on Tesla. If Tesla could break through this, we could turn even more bullish. So it's a little bit on a larger time frame right here, but it doesn't really matter. You guys can see how this is developing. Tesla has to try to hold above this 178 area. As long as we continue to hold above this, we want to break 180. And it does look like it's forming a bullish trend right here. This suggests Tesla could break out to at least 182.5 or 184 very soon. But we have to hold this support, this yellow line right here. We got to hold this. We have to try to break 180 to get that big break to 182 plus, then 184. So let's see if it maintains the structure of this wedge. If we end up losing 177.6, Tesla's going to sink back down to 175. So we have to hold up. So far, it's looking pretty good, showing some life. As long as we hold this, I could be looking for a push on Tesla. For Nvda is still looking pretty good, pushing past 920. We're going to be watching 925 on Nvda. And if we break that, I would not rule out the possibility of 930. This thing is an absolute monster. If we come back down, watch 920, 915, and below that, we could see a bigger drop towards this resistance right here at 910. Then we have 905 below that. Overall, it's bullish. It's still bullish. Could break out to 925 plus. It's still holding up nicely. It's not pushing as hard as it was earlier, but it's still on a very, very strong trend, and this could help the QQQ even more. It is bullish. No other way around. So Aapl showing a little bit of life, but it's not that great, guys. It's barely at 170. It's trying to form a nice accumulation. It is possible it goes up to 171.5, but I'm not really liking this setup that much because we're still technically on a downtrend right here. It just hasn't gone the big bounce with the market we were hoping for. But in terms of the setup, watch 170 as support, 170.9 as resistance. And I do see potential for it to go all the way up to about 171.8. So there's a little potential for it to come down and then start pushing up higher towards this resistance. I see potential for that to happen, so we'll see if that ends up being the case because of this imbalance over here. So we could get a little push on Aapl, but I don't think it's going to be that strong. So I don't really know if I would even trade this or touch this for now. One thing that could be considered though is like buying dollar cost averaging down. That is like one thing that could be done, but I wouldn't really like day trading this. That's not like my kind of play. But for now, there's a little bit of weakness in the chart, but there is potential for this thing to push just a little bit more. The reason why there's weakness is because it's not nowhere near what SPY is doing, what the QQQ is doing. On a typical day, Aapl should have been up big. It's still in the red. It's barely holding this 170 area. Not looking that great. Anyways, as far as SPY goes, this thing is a monster. It's still going. There's no sign of this stopping. Let's try to get past 516 and break towards, if we break that, then 517.25 is a possibility. Tesla's starting to hold up nicely for the first time this entire week. With this wedge forming, there's going to be a potential for Tesla to break out towards 182 plus. Let's see what else is there. Supermicro's at 1150. We got a nice bounce. We're going to be watching this resistance. Watch 1155. If we break that, we could be pushing for 1180 and eventually 1200. 1200. Excuse me. 1200 would be next. So there is potential for that. For the IWM, is pushing a little bit. It's kind of consolidating right here, but I could see this thing. This thing might turn and retest 206.5, then bounce and try to push back up to 207. Very flat. It's not the best for trading. For a few more, we have Microsoft right here. Microsoft, in my opinion, is not looking bad. We actually broke past the 30 minutes 200 EMA. Watch 410 as resistance. If it breaks past that, I think it's going to test 410 first and foremost. It's looking kind of bullish on the 4-hour. I think it's going to be pushing for 414. I think Microsoft has potential. For Coinbase, as usual, this thing is strong. Going to be looking to see if it could hold this 240. As long as we hold this 245 should be coming. Amazon's looking pretty good. 178 is going to be tested. We also have this wick to be watching for at 180. So I could see this thing push for at least 178 and 180. 180 is likely a possibility. I called Meta hitting 510 plus. We're at 512 now. If it breaks this, which I think it still could push, we could be looking for a retest of about 515 then 520. All right, guys, that's it for now. The market is still holding up nicely. We're going to see how well SPY could try to break this resistance. We have tight resistance close to 516. We'll see how it goes. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. For the next piece of data, I forgot to call this out. It's just going to be consumer credit change, which is very minor. I don't really think it's going to affect us that much. The biggest thing right now for the markets is Joe Biden's speech, which is going to be later on today. We'll see what he ends up saying, so we'll see how it goes. Anyways, that is it for the video. I want to just say I thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate it. Everyone, have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys very soon in just a couple of hours. Thank you, and peace out.